Paris. As we promised last week, the road racers turned up. Eddie Lawson, Wayne Gardner, Randy Mamola, Wayne Rainey, all competing against each other on that improvised circuit over there in France. Number 1, Eddie Lawson, 4 times world champion. Alongside him, Wayne Gardner, number 4, 22 with the 2-wheel drive motorbike. 22, Randy Mamola. And also on that front row, Wayne Rainey riding that number 2 Yamaha. Lawson straight into the lead, Gardner right in behind him, Rainey's there too. Look out for 5, the 500cc motocross champion Eric Gabors making an appearance here as well. Gardner, Rainey, Wayne Gardner from Australia, Wayne Rainey from the USA, the 1990 World 500cc champion. Rainey brilliantly takes Gardner on the inside, outbreaks him. Lawson, though, with a quite commanding lead. Lawson, Rainey, Gardner, Mamola, in that order. Wayne Rainey, number 2 from the USA, not Australia, as it said on the caption. Mamola coming up to challenge Wayne Gardner, and Gardner just losing the rear wheel a little bit as he put the power on. Recovered well, and even had the opportunity to look over his shoulder to see where Mamola was. So the 500cc road racers, the World Championship men, out in front, leading the rest of the field. Rainey coming up to challenge Lawson. So the 1990 World Champion coming up to the rear wheel of the 1989 World Champion. Oh, and Rainey loses it. Rainey loses it and lets Gardner through into second place. Virtually gifts the lead completely now to Eddie Lawson. Rainey back on, and back on ahead of Mamola. Well, on a 2-wheel drive motorbike, it's quite a considerable feat for Randy Mamola, even though it's one of his party tricks. 6th there, Jacques Cornu from the 250cc World Motor Racing Championship. Round comes Lawson. Easy, easy stuff. Gardner claiming second place. Rainey picking himself up to come home 3rd. And Randy Mamola in 4th.
Sur la plus haute marche, le vainqueur Eddie Lawson.
Seventh is Stefan Peter-Hansel, Frenchman on the Yamaha. Five up there is Eric Gabors again. And it's Peter-Hansel who's in front. Peter-Hansel leading them away through the temporary section with Salvador in second place. There's Peter-Hansel. 8 Salvador coming up alongside him. And he's got him on the inside. Salvador on the KTM, ahead of Peter-Hansel on the Yamaha. Gabors just getting it a little bit sideways coming out of that corner, but he hasn't done him any harm because he's gone inside Brock Glover, who hasn't got anything like the speed that Gabors has got. Salvador, Stefan Peter-Hansel, 12 is Laurent Bidou on the HVA. Gabous really getting the power on. Saw him really twist the grip there. Laurent Bidou. Gabous really enjoying his retirement after quitting the World Motocross Championship. It's in the Masters of Motocross and competing here, so it's not exactly a relaxing time for him. So Salvador, Peter Hansel and Bidou, 1, 2 and 3 at the head of the field, and Gabous coming up to challenge 2 now. And Peter Hansel just making a bit of a mistake there, and that's let in Bidou. Peter Hansel won't let him go. Quicker on a straight line, slides forward down onto the tank to give himself the speed and the balance through the corners. Gabous waiting to pounce should the other two make any kind of mistake. Peter Hansel, of course, well known as an endurance racer, well known for his exploits on the Paris-Dakar. Gilles Salvador out in front. Peter Hansel in second place. Gabous challenging Laurent Bidou. Now who's got it? Salvador, Peter Hansel, third Gabous, and Laurent Bidou in fourth place. See that third place depended on whether Gabous could actually get the line that Bidou was challenging for. The pair of them slid well out to the outside of the track, and it was Gabous who recovered best to claim third place. This is Stefan Peter Hansel. He was injured in practice, so he was riding with a badly bruised hand. He's now qualified well for the final, which we'll show you next week, and he believes that he's still in with a decent chance of winning it. We'll be off after this meeting to the Faro Rally the next day. So remember the Circuit Carole from a couple of weeks ago, where the Guidon D was staged. Here's some of the practice from the 500cc riders who came along to take part in this meeting. One was Eddie Lawson, brilliant multi-world champion from Upland in California. Steady Eddie, the way that they describe his riding. Unspectacular, but very, very quick, and always seeming to take the right line. The machines they're using here are basically motocross bikes, but with certain detailed differences. So they do use the brakes from the road bikes, for instance. Lawson making light of this circuit because you've got to remember that with the multi-surface, it's a bit of gravel, a bit of loose stuff, and also a bit of tarmac. Quite a tricky proposition. These guys normally don't race on surfaces like this. Eddie Lawson, probably the best rider of modern times in terms of championships won. On different machinery too, and of course he proved his versatility by winning the Guidon d'Or a year ago. Unlucky in the 1990 500cc championship, suffered with injuries and a little bit of a lack of confidence as well in himself and from his team. So his qualifying time, 1 minute 132.3. So he's setting the time which everybody else, the mark which everybody else has got to aim for and possibly beat. Wayne Rainey, new world champion. 30 years old now. Another Californian. He's from Los Angeles. Threatened to do big things in the 500cc championship for a couple of years before he actually won his first race at Donington Park a year ago. Just over a year ago now. Rainey clocking up a time 132.6, 3/10 of a second behind Lawson. Wayne Gardner, the popular Australian from Wollongong in New South Wales. He's 31 now, Wayne Gardner. And a man who won the 500cc World Championship in 1987, and not quite as smooth or as efficient on this track, this surface. Gardner going a bit of a cropper there. Nothing damaged, nothing bent, just his pride a little wounded. Poor old Wayne Gardner sliding a little bit along on his bum there. But got to get out of the way because the next man coming through, number 5, is Eric Gabors, who we saw earlier in the programme. Unlucky to miss out on a win in the Masters of Motocross in the Heat 1 over there at Villars. Been a brilliant motocross ambassador, the Belgian rider, competing in 125s, 250s and 500cc categories. Multi-champion, 500cc in 88 and in 1990, restricting his appearances from now on, but still obviously enjoying it, taking it a bit easy around here though, from the look of it. 135.2 was 3 seconds slower than Eddie Lawson. Gardner eventually making it up to 3rd on his 2nd qualifying lap, but not quite well. Ran out of brakes there for old Wayne Gardner. Not the happiest of qualifying sessions, but he did turn in a 132.8, which took him up to 3rd place on the grid. Now the popular Jolly Jacques Cornu from France on the Honda 250cc World Championship contender. Perhaps deserved to be a champion along the way, but it's a very, very tightly contested championship, that 250 at world level. Cornu not quite managed to get the handling right of the bike, so his time 138.4, that's his quickest time, was very much slower than Lawson, 6.5 seconds slower. 7 is Stefan Peterhansel from France, again on a Yamaha here, as were Lawson and Rainey. So maybe the chance of Peterhansel, who's the endurance rider really. He's familiar from the Paris-Dakar particularly. Won the Superbikers of Paris, we saw that on Screen Sport. And he's generally renowned as an excellent technical rider. 133.6, which is just over a second slower than Lawson. Gilles Salvador, riding the KTM, number 8. He was actually 2nd in the Guidon D in 1989, behind Eddie Lawson. Eddie Lawson winning it for the first time last year. He's been looking after the Superbikes. Salvador, he's done well in the Superbike of Paris. 22 going through there, Randy Momola and the 2-wheel drive Savage. Interesting little machine. Randy Momola giving this Savage the try out on the Guidon D. More familiar scene in the 500cc World Championship. Back with more from Paris and from the Masters of Motocross in just a moment. So, looking at the practice times, Lawson just less than 0.3 of a second ahead of Rainey in practice, with Gardner claiming third, although he had a few problems. 8 is another man to look at, Gilles Salvador. He's down there on the 6th row, I think. A bit earlier than that on the 2nd. Here goes the start. So Rainey not making a good start away from the line. 7 going through there was Peter Hansel, who looked as though he was quickest. Peter Hansel is out in front. There's 7. 4 is Wayne Gardner, look out for him. And the KDM, Gilles Salvador, showing up well in the very early stages. Wayne Gardner in 3rd spot. Making more of a fist of it, I think, than he did in qualifying. Lawson on his tail right behind Gardner. Those two used to be teammates in the Rothmans Honda team a couple of years ago. Peter Hansel out in the lead. There's Lawson in that characteristic style, just seeming to coast past Gardner, with number 2 Rainey right on Gardner's tail now, where they hunch over the bikes. It's almost as though they're urging the bike on to greater things, but it just seems to be the best way to sit on the bike and balance it when they go down those straights where they can actually open it out a bit. Pops up behind the bars from 7, Stefan Peter Hansel, with 8, Gilles Salvador in 2nd place, Lawson in 3rd, Rainey in 4th place now. You see Rainey number 2, Gardner slipping back with Brock Glover on the Honda 500, number 10, just behind Gardner. There's Peter Hansel, under strict instructions not to take any risks or come off or damage himself, because his team was sending him out to the Faro Rally immediately after this event was completed. There's Rainey moving up to 3rd as he takes Lawson. So Rainey making it up from 5th to 3rd. Peter Hansel still out in front. The rain's starting to tipple down now. The umbrellas up in the crowd, and the track surface getting more and more sticky and tacky and slippery, where the bits of rubber and oil have already been laid down. Puddles on the side of the track too. Peter Hansel now, with Rainey moving through the field. He's gone past Lawson. He's gone past number 8, Gilles Salvador. And so it's Peter Hansel from Rainey. Rainey giving himself a helping foot. 1 down on the ground, a little push on. So Rainey from Salvador. It starts to get really grubby and muddy now. Peter Hansel. Rainey can't see. He's trying to get the mud off the visor or the goggles which he's wearing for this event. Trying to get it's his goggles which were causing the problem. He's taken them off, thrown them away, which means that Gilles Salvador has gone back into 2nd place. Peter Hansel still leading. Rainey sweeping back into 2nd place. What a determined ride this is in an event which he says is just really a bit of fun. Back into 3rd place goes Gilles Salvador. He's under pressure from Eddie Lawson. It's at an exciting stage, the Guidon D from the Circuit Carole, just north of Paris, near Roissy, near the Airport Charles de Gaulle. You saw that Rainey threw his goggles away, having got mud splattered all over them from Stefan Peter Hansel, who was in front of him. Peter Hansel in a fairly substantial lead here, but Rainey fighting back, sweeping back through the field past Gilles Salvador after just a couple of 100 meters or so. Lawson there just behind Salvador. Salvador coming under distinct pressure now from the former world 500cc world champion, and Wayne Gardner number 4 coming along there right in behind Lawson. So now it's Peter Hansel versus Wayne Rainey, the Frenchman being challenged by the American for the lead of the Guidon d'Or in Paris. Lawson and Gardner battling it out. Lawson finding it a little bit difficult too, with mud being splattered up from the wheels of Salvador in front of him. It'll be a bit easier now that they're out on the tarmac bit of the track. Here's the battle for the lead again, and Peter Hansel looks round and probably a little bit startled to see Rainey so close. In fact, Rainey closing all the time into that little chicane. Peter Hansel looks over his shoulder and Rainey's on the other side. He's lost it now. That was a mistake. Peter Hansel looking the wrong way over his shoulder. Rainey alert enough to take the inside line and stole through, while Peter Hansel was still checking over his shoulder to see where Rainey was. Now Rainey controls this race, the Guidon D in Paris. Peter Hansel looks first of all over his left shoulder, looks over his right, startled to see that Rainey's already got the line for the corner. Rainey completely outwitted him there. Lawson through on the inside of Salvador, so he's claimed third place. Salvador is going to drop back even further because Wayne Gardner has got his sights on that fourth place. Gardner's going to battle him all the way to the line for it. Salvador wakes up, puts a bit of power on, but Gardner in that speedway style skating round the right-hander. 6 going through there, Jacques Cornu. It's a battle for the minor positions. He's running around about 16th. 2 and 7, Rainey and Peter Hansel, first and second. 22, Momola doing a bit of crowd entertaining because he hasn't got much of a chance of doing anything as regards the leading of the race, because these two are going to dispute it between themselves. Here comes Rainey, Peter Hansel. 1 lap to go. 1 lap to go. It's Momola in front of them, with Rainey coming up to close. Momola, I'm sure, wanted to do anything silly while these two are charging along behind him. See that Peter Hansel getting it very, very sideways there. Rainey in control of the race. Peter Hansel, not much that he can do about it. He's now getting a bit of his own treatment, getting his visor splattered. Momola wisely staying out of the way, watches them through carefully, cautiously, lets the battle for the lead go through ahead of him. It's Rainey from Peter Hansel. Superb display by Rainey, who wasn't particularly quick away from the line, but has gradually made his way up through the field. Peter Hansel made the best start from those on the front row. Rainey controlling this bike, superb. Everything he's done this season, he's looked brilliant right the way through the year. Rainey with a much less frantic style than Peter Hansel. Peter Hansel trying now to get on terms with Rainey, but Rainey really with a superb display, coasting it through around the chicane. Much quicker out of the chicane than Peter Hansel. So smooth, so easy, so immaculate. Great win for Wayne Rainey. Peter Hansel in second place. Good result from Rainey. Well, it's just a bit of fun to him, he says, but he looks delighted to have claimed that title. Bit of more crowd entertainment from Randy Momola on that two-wheel drive Savage. Now then, Jules Salvador, or was it Brock Glover? Brock Glover claiming fourth place behind Eddie Lawson. Jules Salvador in fifth, and Wayne Gardner, a hard-trying, hard-pushing sixth place on the Honda. So Wayne Rainey, 1990 Guidon D champion at the Circuit Carole in Paris. That's the one that they've all been racing for, the Guidon D Golden Bar. Second place, Peter Hansel from Wayne Rainey. And third man up onto the podium should be Eddie Lawson. Good win for Rainey.